Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Peel Police Service Board meeting of Friday, January 24th, 2025. We'll begin with our land acknowledgement. We'd like to begin by acknowledging the land on which we gather and which the region of Peel operates as part of the treaty lands and territories of the Mississaugas of the Credit. For thousands of years, Indigenous peoples inhabited and cared for this land and continue to do so today. In particular, we acknowledge the territory of the Anishinaabeg, Huron-Wendat, and Haudenosaunee, and Ojibwe Chippewa peoples. The land that is home to the Métis, and most recently the territory of the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation, who are direct descendants of the Mississaugas of the Credit. We are grateful to have the opportunity to work on this land, and by doing so, give our respect to its first inhabitants. We'll move on to roll call. All members present except Mayor Brown. And we will begin with our first item, which is the election of the chair. Pursuant to Section 36(1) of the Community Safety and Policing Act, the members of a board shall elect a chair at the board's first meeting in each year. The executive director shall assume the chair and call for nominations for the position of chair. I will, at this time, open it to nominations. I'll begin with Al Boughton.
I'd like to nominate Nando Iannica as chair.
Do we have a seconder?
I'd like to second that nomination.
We have a nomination for Nando Iannica as chair. Are there any other nominations? Seeing none, Nando Iannica is acclaimed as chair of the Police Services Board.
Thank you very much. Quite an honor. I'm privileged that you would bestow it upon me again, and a privilege to serve in this capacity. In fact, the greatest privilege of my 37-year career. So thank you very, very much. With that, we move on because I need a very capable vice chair. So I'm going to call the election open for vice chair pursuant to Section 36(2) of the Community Safety and Policing Act. Members of a board may also elect a vice chair at the first meeting of each year, and that vice chair shall act as the chair if the chair is absent or if the chair's position is vacant. So I call open the nominations for position of vice chair. I have Len Carby with a nomination.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to nominate Samita Kohli as the vice chair.
Very good. I see seat 6. That's me. Do I have a seconder? I see Al Boughton.
I would second that motion.
Motion has been seconded. So you're duly appointed. Any other nominations at this time? Seeing none, nominations are closed. Samita, congratulations. And might you like to say a word?
Just, I'm going to double down on what Nando said. It's truly such an honor, and it's a privilege for all of us, I think, as we serve on this to support, I consider it the greatest police organization. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. I also want to make note of the fact that we've got our renewed, I would say a new appointment, but our renewed appointment from Mississauga. So Matt, it's wonderful to have you here. I'm just, you know, these are tumultuous, challenging times for all of us. And I'll say it publicly that of the many colleagues and friends I have, I'm really glad they brought you back to us on the board because you're just the perfect candidate at this time. I have the privilege of having known the family for 40 years. Do you know the Mahoney's, I think, are one of the few families in Canada that have served at the local, the provincial, and the federal level. Very, very rare. And Matt exudes the finest attributes of his mother and father, both of whom I've worked with, and just a level-headed, pragmatic, intelligent individual, and judicious and fair. And so, Matt, I'm just delighted that you're back and you've served well and you will serve well again. Welcome.
Thank you, Nando, and I certainly do appreciate the opportunity to be back here. It has been, you know, a bit of a challenging time, but I certainly do want to let everybody know that I have the utmost respect for this police service, the best service in the country, and I'm happy to be here and serve in the role that I am and serve with the board members who I certainly do enjoy. It's nice to see everybody again and look forward to getting back to work. Thank you.
Thank you. With that, I'm going to ask for any declarations of conflict of interest. Seeing none. Approval of the minutes from the board meeting on November 22nd, moved by Mr. Boughton, seconded by Samita. All those in favor, that is carried. I know I'm just going into our 3 deputations, but Chief, if you would like at this moment, just in general terms, any comments you'd like to make on behalf of the service, given that it's been a couple of months since we've been away. So I want to give you an opportunity, Chief, for anything you'd like to add.
In the interest of times, we'll probably save the updates from my team, but I do want to, first of all, congratulate you, Chair and Vice Chair, for your nominations, and Councillor Mahoney, welcome back. But first of all, on behalf of all 3,500 of us, thank you for yeah, I've never seen it in my policing career. Um, the alignment in terms of the needs of a community manifest itself in the priorities of a board. We know you've got a governance role and to steward us, but can I tell you, you're going to make us more effective and the community safer. And I think on behalf of us as a team, uh, you know, our job is to do the community proud, look after our people and the community. But I want to tell you that we will be showing the public how impactful yesterday's milestone is for this region. And you have our word on that. So I do want to thank you tremendously for doing that. And also do want to acknowledge President Woolley and the PRPA for their constant, you know, work behind the scenes and for the people. So thank you, Adrian, for everything.
Chief, well said, and thank you. Okay, with that, we go into our deputations. First up, 2-1, Paul and Flo Henderson, here to provide a deputation on intimate partner violence. Paul and Flo, welcome.
Good morning. My name is Paul Henderson, and I'm here with my wife, Flo Bellman. We are the parents of Darian Henderson Bellman, whose life was taken at the age of 25 due to intimate partner violence. Flo and I were proud to be asked by Peel Police if we could provide a delegation to Brampton Council yesterday in support of the 2025 police budget and the police IPV unit. Well, and I know the outcome yesterday will have different pros and cons for people in society. For us, the pro is with the funding that was voted in, so many girls will be helped and their abusers will be dealt with. I would like to share some of our story with you today. Darian was a loving, caring person. She always walked by Flo and I, giving us a hug and saying, "I love you," always. We had all the trials and tribulations that families face in the growth of a child, but what a treasure she was. Darian always said, "I'm Papa's shadow," and we miss her more than words can say. Darian met the accused about 3 years before her life was taken. The accused, after multiple arrests for varied charges, including handguns, was bailed out 2 to 3 days and reoffending every time. And the last time her life was taken. The date of Darian's death was July 28, 2020. 4.5 years later, prelim and varied court procedures, we are still awaiting a court to begin for a first-degree murder trial. It's going to be probably 4.75 years by the time it happens. I would like to share with you some of the effects that our tragedy has had on Flo and I. The day her life was taken, Darian and I WhatsApped each other around 1:45 p.m. Everything seemed so normal. Who could ever have imagined that approximately 2:10 p.m., Darian's life would be over? She was gone. The level of pain we feel every day cannot be measured whatsoever. The victims in these situations, we feel they don't have any rights. It seems to be the criminal has the rights. Flo and I were in court at a preliminary hearing for a judge to rule on whether it was going to be a first or second degree murder charge. This is tough to say, but in court, we had to listen to a judge describe in detail what every bullet did to Darian based on pathology and forensic findings. No parent should have to face that. I have PTSD, which is not easy to deal with. The visions I have of Darian at that moment will be with me for the rest of my life. I'm so fortunate to have Flo by my side. We help each other to get by for sure. It takes both of us to do it. We have the support from so many friends. Al Boughton, he's been in our corner since day one. Chief Nish, and I always like to say, because I do watch these council meetings, and the chief of chiefs, I love that. And Deputy Nick and Inspector Rebecca down the ranks, Halton Police, Victim Services, and Halton Women's Place. Flo and I thank you and love you all for being there to help us cope with our tragedy when at times for us seems uncopable. Thank you.
Good morning. I want to let you know that I've said to a couple of people this morning, I was handed a small blanket, not physically, but mentally, from Rebecca Miller Small. That blanket got larger and larger. The more of you that I knew, the more help we had from you and the support undying. And that blanket's now become big. I feel confident sitting in this chair. Confidence doesn't come easy to me because of that blanket and because of what everybody has done for us. Al Boughton came to our house when he never knew us, sat in a chair one morning and talked to us and said he'll never give up, and he hasn't. And that's a big, big thing for us because we hung on to that. Prior to that, we had Rebecca Miller Small on the phone crying and going on because our daughter was still alive and we didn't know how to help her. And she helped us through that. I handed the phone to Paul. He handed it back to me, bearing no relevance that this poor woman was at a job she had to do. But you never got the feeling that you were in a hurry and you had to get off the phone. That was a big move for us. She also sent us, we were looking to see if we could get help on handling the situation Darian was in. And she sent us the information she had, and there wasn't a lot of it out there, and I hope there is now, of a workshop we could go to. And it was in Vaughan, was it in Vaughan? Sorry. And we drove there in a blizzard one night when we're normally snuggled up in our pajamas, white-knuckled in this blizzard, and we were the only people that showed up. I had a disappointment in that because I wanted to hear what other people were going through, what they did to help, and maybe we could do that. That wasn't there. But the woman that dealt with this was a retired OPP, RCMP, and she helped us greatly that night because she was on the phone to a 14-year-old that kept calling that wanted to get away from her abuser. And she didn't trust enough to let go and come out. And that night she made arrangements. So it was hope for us because we thought, well, it can happen. We're all right. We're still going to make it. And as you know, it didn't come around. We don't have her. But our goal is to help anybody else we can, possibly help at all, to get away from their abusers. So we do devote our time to that whenever possible, and we're grateful for being here because the more we spread the word, the more you spread the word, the bigger that situation gets and hopefully lessen the people that are abused. Paul normally read this, and he's unaware I'm going to this time because he found this on the internet, and it's mind-boggling how it soothes us because somebody else has explained a pain that we can't. And it's from an unknown author, and it's called Death of a Child. It's like losing your breath and never catching it again. It's forever a panic attack, feeling your heart is absolutely dying as your soul screams out for them. And no matter what you try to do, you continue to lose your mind. And it's not just us, it's many parents out there. And we get that. But we're so privileged in having all of you that care about us personally, plus keeping all citizens well. And we're able to spread that word when we're out with people and they're saying, well, what are the police doing? Well, just a minute, we'll tell you what they're doing. And so that's another word that gets out there because we're all doing this together. And I thank you very much.
Thank you. No, don't get up, please. One moment more, if I may, on behalf. First of all, I've got Samita, did you want to say a word? Go ahead, please. No, please go.
First of all, thank you for coming today. I can't even imagine what you guys go through every day for this, but please know that every time you tell your story, I hope more and more are hearing about it and giving them hope. And secondly, it's reinforcing the work that I think IPV and what the officers do every day. I can't imagine what they walk into when they are in such situations as well. But please know what you're doing and coming forth. It means the world to us that you came today. It's my first time I've heard you speak, and I thank you for that you've shared her. And please keep sharing her, because, you know, talking about her is also keeping her around everybody. So know that. I also want to say I'm beyond proud of the chief, Deputy Milanovic, Rebecca, who I've seen firsthand do work. I've been in places where literally she's spoken on a stage and there was results happening at the end of that event itself. So I see the work and the impact, like you said, just takes 1 minute. So, but I really just wanted to say thank you for taking the strength and energy to come today, and please keep sharing. You know, you can come back here anytime, because the more you share, the more people hear, and I'm proud of Al, as he's great. He's amazing. Thank you.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
And
Thank you.
you know,
you-
Darian,
Please,
sorry,
please.
Darian, you know, Flo and I have always said that the guy took her voice that day with what he did. And we are now dedicated to become her voice. So I guess, you know, friends say to me, well, it's got to be really hard on you to dredge this all up all the time, over and over. And I always tell them it'd be a lot harder if we didn't do it. We would be letting her down, number one, and other girls and families, like we're suffering, we'd be letting them down too. So, if, you know, Flo and I have always said if we could save one girl in what we do, we've accomplished something. And that's the way we feel about it.
Well, the privilege is ours for having known you. I have two thoughts that come to me in the time that I've gotten to know you and the presentations that have come forward. One is a little out of left field, but it's from William Shakespeare. And if you're a literary fan, the theme in all of Shakespeare's plays are the chain of being, the natural order of things. So for example, in Macbeth, when the crown was wrongly taken from someone, a lot of things transpire until the chain of being is restored and the rightful heir. In the chain of being, I'm going to give you a different example. They say in life, the greatest thing, the greatest human tragedy that disrupts the chain of being is a parent burying a child. Life's not supposed to be like that. We raise them, they're supposed to be at our funerals and that chain of being. So it has been proven nothing is more cataclysmic in life because it's not right, especially under those circumstances. But I have a final thought for you too that come to mind. I use this analogy a lot and I go, I wish more people were Wayne Gretzky. And if I were Wayne Gretzky, what's the honor in it? I go, it's not saying I had all the records. It's hoping I could coach the girl or the boy that breaks all my records.
Yeah.
That's what you're doing. It's not about you. It's about what you can do to help the next person. And my last thought, and I say this with the greatest sincerity, and I mean it, I feel Darian's spirit. You're keeping it alive. This is what is remarkable. And what greater joy that I think a lot of us, and I mean it sincerely, I have a sense of who this wonderful person was. And you keep her spirit alive while helping so many others. We are indebted to you. We are grateful to you. And we will get past this, and we know you will, and we will honor her memory forever thanks to you. With that, Al, I want to give you the last word and thank them before they make their way.
When, Paul talked about it in the fall, when I visited them at the home, I had my cell phone with me, and as I walked in, I handed it to them, and it was the chief on the phone. And thank you for what you've done. What did I say that day? Your loss of Darian is going to make a difference if we work to make a difference, and you have. Thank you.
And you're handing the phone to us and us speaking to Nish that day was the starting of the blanket getting bigger and feeling more confident and knowing you were in our corner. And it's 4.5 years later, and people have said, what are the police doing? I said, oh my gosh. I said, they're getting these criminals to where they need to be. The system is allowing them to release. And I said, imagine how that feels having your job and watching that happen over and over again. So we do hope this will change sometime soon, hopefully. Hopefully when we're still here to see it, that would be nice. But in the pictures that come up on the screen, one of the pictures, I'm holding Darian as a young baby, and she's looking over my shoulder, great big smile on her face and hands going up because she wanted her papa. She'd had enough of Nana. So those things are heartbreaking, but they make it real that we had her, that she was ours, that we were a family, and we're grateful for that.
Chief?
Thank you. There's like so much that you've brought to us, and you use the analogy of a blanket. Can I tell you, just to reaffirm the commitment from not just the board, but the police service, is that we're your family and intertwined here and after. You know that, and we will continue to do our best. As you are Darian's voice, we will continue to be the platform for advocating with you and making sure that there is a change. So thank you. We love you tremendously, and we know that our connection will always continue.
Thank you.
Paul Flo, thank you very much. Receipt moved by Mr. Boughton and Vice Chair Samita. All in favor? Carried. Thank you once again.
Thank you.
Our next
for the
deputation is
opportunity.
Ruba Sadiq to provide a deputation from the perspective of a survivor's experience. Ruba, welcome.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Ruba Sadiq, and I'm standing here today. And standing here today is something I never imagined I'll do. Sharing my story with you is not easy. It's a story of pain, fear, and survival, but also one of resilience, hope, and transformation. 2 years ago, I could never have imagined speaking publicly about what I endured today. I hope my journey can shed lights on the reality of IPV and inspire others to find their strength in the darkest moments. Life wasn't always like this. In 2016, my family and I moved to Canada from Dubai. We had big dreams, just like so many other immigrants. We wanted to build a better life for our 2 sons. For a while, it seemed like everything was falling into place. We were happy, thriving, and full of hope for the future. But life, as it often does, has a way of catching you off guard. What began as a small crack in the foundation of my marriage eventually turned into a void I couldn't ignore. In early 2022, I began noticing changes in my husband. He was distant, irritable, and unpredictable. At first, I thought it was stress, maybe work or finance worries, but it was more than that. He started acting strangely. He'll say things that didn't make sense, lash out over small things, and create an atmosphere of tension in our home. 3 days before the incident that changed my life, his behavior, sorry, became downright alarming. One evening, he disappeared for hours. When he returned, he scattered toys on the stairs and driveway, creating a barrier and a dangerous situation. I stayed up all night clearing the mess, not realizing at the time how symbolic this act will become. Me trying to clear a path through chaos, desperately holding into a sense of normalcy. The next morning, he was furious that I have moved the toys. His anger felt unhinged, and I started locking my bedroom door at night. I told myself I was overreacting, but deep down, I knew I wasn't safe. March 7, 2022 is a day forever etched in my memory. He came home that day with a look in his eyes that made my blood run cold. I knew something terrible was about to happen. I asked him to leave, hoping it would de-escalate the situation. My eldest son stepped in to help. I told him to take his younger brother and get to safety. But as my husband's anger exploded, my son tried to protect me. He fought as hard as he could, but it was too much for him alone. What happened next is a blur. I remember fragments: fear, confusion, pain, then nothing. When I woke up, I was in a hospital. I had suffered severe injuries, and the doctor weren't sure if I would survive. Waking up in the hospital was like waking up in a nightmare. My body was broken, my spirit shattered, and my life as I knew it had been torn apart. When I looked in the mirror, I didn't recognize the person staring back. My face was swollen and bruised, painful, reminded of the violence I had endured. But even in those moments of despair, I knew I had to keep going. My children needed me. I needed me. Recovery was not a journey I could walk alone. Thankfully, I didn't have to. The support I received from my community, law enforcement, and neighbor was a lifeline. The police responded swiftly, ensuring my immediate safety. They didn't stop there. They followed up, checked in, and contacted me with resources that will help me rebuild my life. Through therapy, my son and I began to heal emotionally. Counseling session became a safe space to process the trauma and find ways to move forward. Recovery isn't linear. Some days I felt strong. Others I was overwhelmed by pain, fear, and anger. But I refused to let the violence define me. Instead, I chose to rebuild my life one step at a time. Therapy became a cornerstone of my recovery. It helped me navigate the emotional scars that left behind and gave me tools to cope with triggers and fears. My children became my motivation. I wanted to show them that even when life knocks you down, you can stand back up. Together, we found ways to heal through therapy, open conversation, and creating new memories. My story isn't unique. Every day, women and men around the world endure IPV. The Peel region alone, one woman is strangled every single day. These are not just numbers. These are lives, families, futures being torn apart. If there's one thing I've learned through this journey, it's that even in the darkest time, there is hope. No matter how broken you feel, you can find a way forward. During my recovery, I held into the concept of the dark night of the soul. It's the idea that even when it feels like you're buried, you're being planted. The thought gave me the strength to keep going. I've never forget the voice message my eldest son recorded while I was in a coma. It was his way of reaching me, of reminding me that I had a reason to fight. The message pulled me back to life, reminding me that even in the darkest moment, love and hope can light the way. My journey from darkness to light is a proof of resilience of the human spirit. With the support of compassionate individuals, I turned my pain into purpose. Today, I'm here to advocate for survivors, to raise awareness about IBV, and to remind everyone that no one is alone in this fight. Together, we can create a world where survivors are supported, resources are protected, and IPV becomes a thing of the past. Thank you for listening to my story and being part of the light that guide us all. I would like to bring to your attention that the delegation was misquoted yesterday in an article of news. I fully support the police budget as I deeply understand the significance of their work in protecting the most vulnerable members of our community. And I would like to share the voice message from my son I received when I was in coma, if I can.
Spanish. I just want you to know, Mama, I'm always with you. You don't have to struggle with anything. I'm always going to be by your side, even if I can't see you. And I'm okay. I'm right. And you don't have to worry about anything. Adam is fine completely. He has no stab wounds. He has no nothing. I have a few, but yeah, I'm recovering, and I can walk. I can it's the only concern I have is just like I have a breathing tube because like air got in my body a little bit, so they just have to extract it, and then my wounds have to be treated, and then I'm fine. I just want you to know that we're always going to be with you. You don't have to worry about anything. I hope you can hear this. I love you so much. I'm always going to be with you. If I can visit you anytime, I will. You don't have to worry about me. I'm fine. You should worry about yourself for now. I know you're going to be okay. You don't have to worry about, oh, I'm going to survive. You are. I know you are. No one is like letting you down. Everyone is worrying about you. And when I mean everyone, like more people than you would expect. And I will have a surprise for you when you get back. And we're all good and life is back to normal. Hi, it's me, Spanish. I just want you to know, Mama.
This message was what put me back to life. My heart rate was very low. Actually, officer played that recording. My heart rate started going higher. And every time he stopped it, it went down lower. And then when he played it again, my heart rate went higher again. And the medical team couldn't believe it. But I do believe it. Thank you.
Ruba, thank you. Mr. Bowden.
Thank you, through you, Chair. This is 2 days that, I was here yesterday, and as you know, and you were sitting with Paul and Flo, And I said to them, I'm going to say to you today what I said to them just after Darian was taken. I said, you know what? The loss in the case of Darian and what you've gone through, you're making a difference. You're making a huge difference. And Chair, you and Mr. Serpe and a few people were here yesterday at the council meeting, and Mayor Annette Groves tried to address you after your presentation, and she had to leave. And you saw what happened, right? I spoke to her at length last night. She called me, and she was apologizing for her not being able to speak to you. And she said it's so important that what you're doing. And she came from an environment, and the victim and her family was her mother. And she said it's so important that we break the chain, right? And you know, what your children have gone through, no child should have to go through, nor what you went through. But you are making a difference. And with your help and continuing to talk about it, we're going to break that chain. So thank you. Thanks for the board, from all of us at the board. You're making a difference. And the same to you, the Hendersons, you know that.
Thanks.
Thank you. Ruba, I want to share a story. I have too many stories for my own good, but you've just triggered another one. I'm going to say this is a 30-year-old story. I was speaking to a family friend, a school teacher, and they said, you know, kids don't do read and write and arithmetic anymore, so we want them to get back into writing. So they said, but instead of structure and what's the preposition, the noun, etc., just free flow, just write a little bit, go home tonight and write something. And this teacher read something from a grade 4 student, and what it said was, yesterday was a good day. Daddy didn't hit mommy. Remember, they don't know any better. You just said, you asked me to write about the real world. You just played a tape where your child said, Mommy, isn't this great news? You don't have stab wounds. That's the real world. And this is the significance to you, to Paul, and to Flo. People like us, people like me that sit up here with a suit and tie on, we sometimes forget what the real world is. And were it not for you and Paul and Flo yesterday, you made my council aware of what the real world is. And I think you were pivotal in getting our police budget approved. Because instead of the machinations and what will this ratepayer group say, here were real human beings saying the positive impact and the help that you need. Honorable mention, a shout out to Mr. Woolley as well. I think he did a great job as well. But it's nice that we hear from real people, and the difference that you made yesterday, I believe that with all my heart. I believe that with all my heart. And those you will benefit from a fully approved police budget with a new complement of people to help with intimate partner violence. So thank you very, very much for that. I think, Samita, did you have one more comment, or I'm going to ask for a receipt? Samita, also to move receipt now, Boughton. And a last comment to you. Go ahead, please.
I'm just going to say one thing. You are so strong. You have no idea. And the voicemail for your son shows what strong kids you've raised. All they did was worry about someone else in a time when they went through, and look what you're doing. All you're doing is resharing a story that's probably so painful and traumatic, and you're living through that for all of us to hear. So for us, you are very strong. And please keep doing that. Thank you.
Will do.
Thank you. Chief, a last word to you.
Thank you, Chair. And Ruba, again, I think Samita just said it perfectly. Your courage and strength is tremendous. We can see how your beautiful children are also doing the same thing. And please know that we are tremendously appreciative of that you provided to us, not just yesterday, but today as well. That advocacy that you're doing on behalf of other survivors and those that are facing intimate partner violence is so significant. Again, this is a statement of commitment from us at Field Police to say that we will continue to press into these spaces. We're thankful for you sharing your experience. Please know that, you know, as a result of yesterday and today and the board's efforts, we're going to continue to make it better for survivors in Peel Region, hopefully prevent further violence, family violence. Thank you for doing that. And Chair, I think just to reiterate the Ruba's earlier comments, I think I need to go on record to correct the misinformation. We know that we're used to the media in different articles, but the efforts that Ruba has gone to be sloppily mislabeled just negates the advocacy that she's doing. So I just want to correct it and say that just so you know, and I know Mayor Brown, who's not here, also made efforts to contact the originators to make sure, as well as the police service. But forget about that. We just want to say thank you. You're absolutely amazing. Thank you, Ruba.
Ruba, thank you very much for your presentation today.
Thank you for listening to me, and I truly hope one day we will not hear about domestic violence. And we are not only in a family cell, even in our communities, empathy and love is what we truly need at that time on age and whatever we are going through. So if I am able to give empathy to the survivor and being able to help them in any way, I will speak my truth, and I'll support them in any and every way. Thank you.
Ruba, thank you very much. Okay, next up, our final presentation, Peel Crime Stoppers 2025 update. Imran Hassan to provide the 2025 update for the Peel Crime Stoppers program. Imran, welcome.
Good morning. And before I just get going, I wanted to just recognize our former speakers for sharing, their courage and their stories of survival and loss. But know that you have the best police service in the country, and here we have your back. So I just wanted to, sort of start the presentation with that statement. I wanted to bring greetings on behalf of the Peel Crime Stoppers Board and wish everyone here a happy new year. I know this is a new beginning, and congratulations on the approval of the budget. Congratulations to you, Mr. Chair, on the election, and Vice Chair Sumita, to you, and to all our distinguished members of the board, as well as our chief and the Chief's Management Group. Keep up the great work. I wanted to just come today to provide a little bit of a review and an update on the status of the Crime Stoppers program. And I want to just thank Robert Serpe for moving up our deputation from February to January, because January is Crime Stoppers month. So Robert, thank you again for being mindful of that and moving this up. So thank you for that. This is a collaboration and a partnership with the finest police service in the country, and I'm proud to say that we are working with Chief Duriapa and his Chief Management Group, the deputies, and specifically I want to point out Deputy Depat for your leadership with the Community Safety and Wellbeing program that you lead, and you're our biggest advocate and biggest supporter at Crime Stoppers, and that does not go unnoticed. Day in, day out, you're preoccupied with many other commitments and responsibilities and priorities, but you never forget about Crime Stoppers. So thank you for that. And of course, under the leadership of Chief Duriapa, the wonderful work that you're doing and leading this team and this organization and the thousands of members in collaboration, of course, with our Peel Regional Police Association. I know President Woolley is here, so I want to acknowledge him as well. So we're just going to provide a quick overview of who we are, what we do, and the community impact that we make. And before I go further, I'm sorry, I'm here with my Vice Chair, Harry Pedwell, who will chime in as well and say a few words. So as you know, the Crime Stoppers program did start in 1976 in the United States. It was formed here in 1997 in Peel Region. It's community-led and volunteer organization. We have 37 chapters in Ontario, 87 chapters in Canada, and over 1,700 chapters worldwide. We are the organization that provides the anonymous tip line for the public. Our mandate is to promote safety and security awareness and strengthen relationships between our first responders community and the public. Some of the crimes that we help prevent and help solve through the fine work of Peel Regional Police are listed here. Obviously, auto theft and carjackings are prevalent in our community here. Unfortunately, scams, human trafficking, intimate partner violence, robbery, firearms, and unfortunately, hate crimes as well. Just to share a little bit of our budget of operations, we are not funded in any sustainable way by any level of government. And so we do go out into the public and raise funds through sponsorships and fundraisers. And what does that pay for? It pays for our anonymous tip line, so the call center, the website, the online app. And then any crime prevention and public safety messages we're communicating, we do so through digital media, radio. We have a weekly radio show at 11 o'clock on Sundays called Tips by Peel Crime Stoppers. And then, of course, we have many print media that we distribute. And then, of course, when we're organizing community engagements and initiatives, we have to rent space, provide signage, serve refreshments, and from time to time we have promotional swag. So we do all this, in collaboration with local businesses who step up and provide supports in kind as well as financially. So some of the collaborations that we're very proud of to share with you today is we're working in schools, retirement centers, places of worship, associations, service organizations, and social clubs. And you can see some of the brands that are listed here. But I do want to point out that there's two organizations here we're working with. One is the Ontario government with the seniors ministry in providing an annual program where we do a game show quiz with in collaboration with our partners at Peel Police, as well as our Peel Paramedics and Mississauga Fire, Brampton Fire, Caledon Fire. And we're providing safety messages to the public in the form of a game show, which is hosted at Square One Shopping Centre. So that happens every year, and we're just waiting for the approval of the funding from the Ontario government for that. Hopefully that will come in short order. And something new that we've embarked on is a collaboration with the Dufferin Peel Catholic District School Board. For the first time, something in this nature is forming, and Deputy, I'd love to bring you up to speed on that once we have an opportunity to reconnect. And we're also applying for federal funding for a project that we're going to undertake, and that'll be very important for us to discuss offline. So some of the fun stuff that we've done during the course of 2024 includes, as I mentioned, the game show quiz. In March, the St. Patrick's Day fundraiser that we host also in March. And then we do an annual First Responders Recognition Barbecue in June. I'm pleased to say that I've had a chat with President Woolley about the new PRPA headquarters, and congratulations on that. It looks like it's coming to fruition. And the invitation was offered to host the First Responders Recognition Barbecue at the PRPA headquarters. So we're pretty excited about talking further about that. We do a hot sauce challenge at a local pub, kitty corner to the headquarters of Peel Regional Police. And then we also support the Crime Prevention Academy that Peel Regional Police organizes every year. And then the highlight of our year is the golf tournament. We hosted that inaugural event last year. It was sold out. This year, it's coming again. I'm counting on the deputy here who's nodding and smiling for support and participation, so appreciate that and look forward to sharing the details. So the images that you're seeing there is not an AI-generated image. That is actually the Premier of Ontario, the Honourable Doug Ford, together with myself in the police chief's golf cart. So Chief, thank you again for loaning us your special vehicle for that day. I had the honor and privilege of taking the Premier around the golf course and introducing him to various stakeholders and community partners who were supporting our golf tournament. I know that was a very special day, both for the Premier and for ourselves. And then in the bottom right-hand corner, you'll see an image of some of the deputies and our crime prevention team who were attending a a fundraiser. I think it was the St. Patrick's Day celebration. And then the other infographic is Anwar Knight, who is a known personality on television, who is our host for the game show quiz at Square One.
Yeah, I'd just like to add, so we just took a couple small number of events here just to highlight them because they're events you'd be familiar with. Which you're probably a little less familiar with, though, is probably the 100+ events that we attend to promote both Crime Stoppers and its use, as well as community safety in conjunction with Peel Regional Police.
So we spoke earlier about collaboration. Well, it's very important that we align our themes and what we are going to be tackling as far as messages out to the public in alignment with Peel Regional Police. So this is the calendar of themes that was shared with me by Peel Regional Police, and we look forward to supporting each and every one of those initiatives. And just to give you a high-level overview of the impact of the program. So year over year from 23 to 24, you can see that the tips received have gone up 14%, and charges laid and arrests have gone up exponentially. So this is the effectiveness of the program, and we're very proud to be working with the finest members of Peel Regional Police and the greatest service in the country.
And this uptick that you see has been continuously over the last 3 to 5 years that's been going on. I think it's attributed to two main things. I think part of it is our promotional program over the last 5 years in Peel, but also the increase of crime in Peel region and the individuals wanting to take advantage of our tips line to provide those tips to the police.
So that concludes our deputation. Thank you again to the board and to the service, and just want to wish all of you the very best in 2025 and beyond, and know that the Crime Stoppers program is alive and well, and we're going to continue providing those anonymous tips to your members so that you're able to do the investigative work to help hopefully prevent and or solve crimes that have already been committed. And I wanted to just say thank you, and over to Harry for any final words.
No, I think I'm very difficult for me to be as eloquent as Imran is there. But I wanted to follow on saying it's having followed the previous two speakers, it's eye-opening to me to see some of the effects of crime in here, and so it raises again my awareness of the value of this program, because throughout where you see people being abused, see it, report it. If you don't want to report it, call Crime Stoppers. Anywhere throughout a lot of those stages that could have assisted these the two individuals that were listed here, and we want to make sure people are aware of it so they can take advantage of crime.
Questions at this time, Mr. Carby.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I will just lead off with saying thank you to both of you gentlemen for coming and just sharing. I see Crime Stoppers everywhere I go in the community, and that testament to your commitment to continuing to bring awareness and the hard work that you put into connecting with community and building trust in community partners to be willing to share. Individuals in our community need to find that safe space to report. And we know that we've been seeing an increase in criminal activity in our community. So having this as an option for reporting is certainly well received. And I just want to acknowledge the work you're doing and say thank you on behalf of the board.
Thank you.
Thank you. Vice Chair Coley, please.
Yeah, I think just alluding to Mr. Carby, thank you for sharing. I actually, there's things I was not even aware how large the organization was and the reach. So thank you for that. And I agree with Mr. Carby. I see it everywhere. And so that means you're doing the right things, because if we're seeing it everywhere, I'm sure everybody else is. And the fact that you're making it safer for them to be able to report and the results that you're showing, the correlations, that's fantastic. So thank you for that.
Appreciate that. And we are going to be even more visible now. I want to say thank you to Deputy DePat for bringing forward this initiative. We advocated for having Crime Stoppers on the police tape. So now it's there along with the anonymous tip line. So that's a win for Peel Regional Police and for Peel Crime Stoppers. So thank you again, Deputy DePat, for that leadership and for that collaboration.
Well, on behalf of the board, I want to thank you. One of the things that I learned is that you're as big as you are, and I didn't know that, And the good news, bad news is you keep growing. More and more tips, the percentages. That's absolutely unfortunate in some ways, but nevertheless, you play a vital role. So well done, and thank you very, very much for your volunteer efforts. I have receipt moved by Vice Chair Coley, seconded by Mr. Carby. All those in favor? Carried. Thank you very much again, gentlemen. With that, that brings me to the end of my agenda, so I'm going to ask for a motion to adjourn from Mr. Mahoney and Mr. Khan. All those in favor? Anybody opposed? Carried. Thank you all.